What's going on, y'all? It's me again, SoCal Honey Badger, along with the
Yo,
gentleman with.
yo. How's it going, everybody?
What's going on, everyone?
Yeah, that's just Dave and Ryan Stone. That's their intros. That's who was talking in order of appearance. Say hi to the people with your names, jackasses.
Oh yeah, it's just Dave. How's it going? I think they recognize the voice. It's all good though.
Every episode
I,
is
I, I don't
someone's
know, Dave. Our
first.
voices sound pretty similar, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I'm just saying every
true, true,
episode is somebody's first. So you don't know
true,
who's
true.
tuning in for the first time. It could be
Facts,
somebody who
facts.
doesn't know who the fuck you are. And they're like, who is this
True.
guy? It's just Dave. That guy is just Dave. Those of you just
It's
tuning
Dave.
in.
Yes, sir.
So on the docket, there's a lot to discuss. And I posted to you guys, I had sent you guys beforehand the topics I wanted to discuss. I think we should just start with the first one, the easiest one, which would be Swerve in AEW.
Ooh, that's pretty cool. That's a big signing, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's.
I got to be honest, guys. I feel bad saying this, but his debut match on AEW was the first time I even saw him wrestle.
Really?
Really?
I didn't watch a single thing of his in NXT. Not because I wasn't watching him. I just wasn't watching NXT.
I think NXT was some of his best work. He was kind of good on the indies, but he still had that kind of green, like indie spot fest kind of build to his matches. And in NXT, oh my god, dude! Like, there's a reason why people said he's the future. Because on NXT, his North American title run was fucking amazing, and his matches were godlike. And the match he had on AEW, I feel like was kind of like his Andrade moment. Like, people that haven't seen what he can do in NXT are like, they saw that match and they're like, yeah, he's all right. Like,
Well, I
what's
thought he
the
was
big deal?
fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I got it when I saw the match. I realized because I'd heard the same thing that you had just said. I'd heard all the hype around the kid. I knew of Shane Strickland. I just hadn't seen him wrestle. I had seen promos. I had seen gifs and little clips here and there, but I had never seen a match from start to finish. But no, I was wildly impressed with Swerve. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what he could do in AEW.
wow. I was
Wasn't he the
actually-
leader of Hit Row or no?
No, he was the. Oh yeah, he was the leader of Hit Row.
Was.
But I actually wasn't as impressed with his match on what was it, Dynamite? His first, or no,
I
Rampage.
think it was Rampage. Yeah, for sure.
Rampage. Because I've seen what he can do in NXT, and the guy is freaking amazing. And I felt like it was kind of like Andrade's debut. That, like, if you had seen what he could do, it was like, all right, man, that was a little taste. That was a teaser. But I think as soon as Swerve gets in there with Andrade or Pac or Penta, like any of the like top tier AEW guys, I think that's when Swerve is gonna really start turning eyes. He's really good in NXT. He was
Yeah, you
awesome.
can tell, man. I think he got some charisma to him for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, the dude stands out. I'm excited to see where he goes.
Definitely.
Well, especially because I know Tony Khan was interested in him before he got sucked up by NXT. Like, NXT just outbid them on him, so he went where the money was. And the thing is, I think Tony Khan kind of like gets the better end of the deal because he's more refined now. Like, the Strickland that Tony Khan tried to get was just a raw talent. Like, he was just like this ball of athletic ability and charisma, and he really got refined in NXT. And so the Swerve they get is actually a better Swerve than they were disappointed in losing out on, I think, in my opinion.
I think there's a lot of people that you could say that about. You know, I look at, the Kyle O'Reillys, the Bobby Fishes, the Adam Coles. You know, they sat under that Shawn Michaels learning tree. Johnny Gargano's another one. You're definitely getting the better guys when they come out of there. Not saying that AEW couldn't produce that, but when if you brought in Adam Cole straight out of Ring of Honor and New Japan, you've got a completely different Adam Cole today. And I would probably say the same for Swerve. You sit under the learning tree of some of the brightest minds ever to lace up a pair of boots in wrestling. You can't help but get better. If you don't get better, that's on you, in my opinion.
I
Right,
don't
right.
agree with that on Adam Cole. I don't think Adam Cole is like more refined or better now than he was. I think Adam Cole is the same Adam Cole. He was just ready for the spotlight and it was put on him in NXT. But like I mean, go back and watch his stuff in NXT, like his earlier stuff. Like he's kind of doing the same shit. So like he was
I feel like
ready.
the build of his matches changed, though. You know, that's the one thing you're going to learn. Like, all these guys, they could wrestle. You're not going to teach these guys a new hold, something new. You're not going to teach them that.
He
You're
still
going to
uses
teach them
50 super kicks though. Like his
exactly.
matches are the same.
But that's what they were. That's what they were pushing back then. That's what they were hoping for. Go watch any Takeover main event. It was a Shawn Michaels match.
Yeah.
Because that's who's helping coach these guys. That's what he was. He didn't change these guys. He just tried to make them better at what they did. Their matches prior, if you go watch, I wouldn't say that they're bad, but you probably will find a lot less things that make no sense.
Yeah,
today.
that's true. That is true. There's a lot of
You know,
white
you'll see
noise
Cole
in
probably
matches.
doing that Panama Sunrise Canadian Destroyer earlier in the match or wasting it instead of it meaning something. I think what they learned in NXT was how to make things mean something. And guys in AEW are going to learn the same. Look at Dante Martin. Dante Martin is while he's the same style, he's a different wrestler than he was when you first saw him.
Yeah, that's true.
He's evolving. That's what I mean with these guys sitting under that learning tree. They're not going to learn how to wrestle better. They're going to learn how to put matches together better.
And that does bring up to the second point on the same story. I don't know if you guys have followed up on Swerve's first interview since joining AEW, his kind of like response to NXT and all that recently that he did. Where they said, hey, what's it like being in AEW compared to like NXT, and what do you think about the spring cleaning and wiping all the Triple H's guys out? And Swerve actually came out and said, you know what, I was actually in favor of it because Triple H held all of us back, and it was Shawn Michaels that actually gave us a chance. He said Triple H's booking style was super conservative. If you weren't a megastar on the indies, you weren't getting TV time. And the problem was that they ended up relying too much on Adam Cole, Gargano, Ciampa, like, you know, the NXT guys. And guys like Swerve, he's like, dude, I was there for a while, and I never got used. I never got on TV. It wasn't until Shawn Michaels showed up and said, no, I want everything fresh and new. Get rid of all of these guys that we've been relying on. NXT is supposed to be a territory. They need to be moving on or they need to be moving out. Let's push the fresh guys. And that was when Swerve got his chance. And that, I think, is the interesting thing that people aren't bringing up, because everybody talks about how godlike Triple H's NXT was. Like, dude, the black and gold. I mean, that's what got me watching WWE again. And there's more to that story. I mean, I guess Triple H really held, because you think about Swerve, like the guy's really starting to shine, and man, Triple H was sitting on this guy. The way we criticize Vince McMahon for sitting on Cesaro, Triple H was sitting on Swerve.
Interesting.
Right.
You know, he slingshotted Keith Lee, and he sat on Swerve. Think about that.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
You know,
Not
that's
gonna lie.
like some food for thought kind of shit.
Well,
Right.
I mean, it's no surprise. I mean, I think every promoter is going to have that. I'm sure there's guys TK is sitting on, Tony. You know, I'm sure there's guys that have a bunch of talent, but he's got his core group that he's trying to push.
Yeah, but Triple H had NXT revolve around Adam Cole, Gargano, Ciampa,
did.
like for years, dude. Like Finn
Yeah.
Balor and Nakamura didn't stay there nearly that long and had just as much of an impact on building NXT. Like Adam Cole should have been shipped up a lot sooner. Like he should not have been there for like 3 years. His whole contract with WWE was all at NXT, and you're telling me that
NXT,
guy needed
basically.
to be developed?
Yeah.
Well, you can't
Well,
grow,
then he
grow
did have-
inches in NXT. I honestly
did
don't think that he would have been a Vince guy anyway.
I'm pretty sure. Didn't he have a few matches on Raw and SmackDown though? Adam Cole.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, but like I think the thing is, it's not so much that like Adam Cole, his whole thing is built around being Shawn Michaels. Like he's not ripping him off, but clearly he's influenced, like the way he puts his matches together, the move sets that he uses, the bumps that he does, his character, his whole personality. It's got that Shawn Michaels essence to it. The thing is, Adam Cole, like, it's hard to put Adam Cole in the Shawn Michaels spot. Like, Shawn Michaels, yeah, he wasn't huge, but he also wasn't tiny, and he was in amazing shape.
Yeah.
And Adam Cole is not. Like, he's not a big guy. He's a tiny guy. Like, Shawn Michaels is an average size guy. He's like 6'1". Okay, Adam Cole is, I think, as tall as me. Okay, and then he's not in impeccable shape. Like, Adam Cole, dad bod memes were going on for weeks now. Like, Shawn Michaels,
he got pudged after he left NXT. That was a given.
Yeah, and Shawn Michaels, like, yo, man, when Shawn Michaels was at his peak, when he was holding that belt and having to go get his smile back, that dude had Finn Balor's body. You know, like, Shawn was in shape. And so I know Vince looked at it and said, this guy is basically Shawn Michaels, cocky, arrogant heel with a lot of super kicks, but he doesn't look like Shawn Michaels. But he wants to be Shawn Michaels, but he doesn't look like it. And so I could see why Vince was like, yeah, I don't think so on Adam Cole. Because Vince doesn't think like, you know, a wrestling fan. Vince thinks like the owner of a multinational billion-dollar corporation.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But I just
Well,
go ahead.
I was gonna ask you guys something. Like, now that we're talking about Adam Cole and Shawn Michaels, do you guys think like certain moves mean a lot more or less than they did back then? Like,
Yes.
you know, with the super kick and the Canadian Destroyer.
Absolutely.
Like, I remember those were finishers. Like,
However, I think you could make anything a finisher today. You can give somebody a DDT as a finisher and get it over.
That's Mox.
True.
Mox is a fucking sleeper hold.
Right. Look at, I mean, yeah, Mox is the elevated, the double underhook brainbuster, but just the normal DDT, come on, that's all it is. You can get anything over. Wardlow is beating people with power bombs.
Power bombs, yeah. True.
Here's the deal, man. Bob Backlund won the WWF Championship with an atomic drop. That's how he beat Superstar Billy Graham. He beat him with an atomic drop. That was his finish. Okay, so like when people are like, oh man, the super kick is devalued, and I'm like, dude, people don't even use the atomic drop anymore. And that gave us one of the longest reigning fucking WWF champions of like the past 40 years. Like Bob Backlund's reign, like people kind of like sit there and say, oh yeah, Bob Backlund's reign wasn't all that. And it's like, yeah, next to Bruno fucking Sammartino. Like nobody holds the belt as long as Bruno Sammartino. But Bob Backlund held that shit for what, like 6 years? Dude, Roman Reigns can't even
2,100 days.
Fuck.
2,100 days.
2,135 days.
35 days. God damn.
Right?
5.8 years.
Jesus. Yeah, dude. So, like, Bob Backlund was over, and he was winning and defending the main belt for almost more than half a decade, and his finish was the goddamn atomic drop. So, like, when people talk about devaluing moves, and I'm like, dude, Irish Whip used to be a finish. That was a finish.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
That's like, dude, that's a transition to a transition move now. So, and then likewise, bringing it back around also, not very long ago, Santina Marella used the fucking Mr. Sacco finish. So, like, and again, we've got The Rock, we've got The Worm, you know, with Scotty 2 Hotty. Like, we've got dumb finishes that people just accept, and then we've got moves that used to be finishes that are now transitions, but you can make an elbow drop a finish. I think a lot of people actually use. Doesn't Max Caster just use the fucking Macho Man elbow drop as his finish?
Absolutely.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, the mic drop. Yeah, the mic drop. Yeah,
and Velveteen Dream, when he was still around, he was using just an elbow drop. I think AEW is kind of leading the way with that, because you're seeing especially like Bryan Danielson and Moxley using basic shit. You know, Bryan Danielson will win it with a Mexican surfboard, and you're like, wow. I remember La Parka used to hit like 5 of those in WCW, and it wouldn't even cause a dent. And like fucking Bryan Danielson, 20 years later, is using that as a finish.
See, that's my
Right.
point. You can get anything over. All you have to do is make it consistent. That's it. That's all you have to do.
I don't even think you
And
have
you
to
can get
do
anything
that.
over. I think it was Paul Heyman. I can't remember who said it, but it was a while ago. Definitely over 10 years ago, I want to say. But I want to say it was Paul Heyman that said you could, because I think someone asked him the same question. How do you feel now that the DDT is a transitional move or something like that? And he goes, "Oh, I can easily make that a finish." He goes, "Even better, I can make a bear hug a finish." He goes, "All you need to do is go out there and tell Mark Henry, hey, start bear hugging people till they pass out in the ring, and get that over. A bear hug would be over in just a matter of weeks."
Yeah, well, I think it's
True.
because like it's not hard to get this shit over. These are actual fighting moves. I'm like,
That's why I love like Bryan Danielson. I love the fact that he was beating people with different moves, not necessarily a finisher every single night. And I love the flair he adds to the triangle chokes now, where he's flexing on them. Total
Yeah.
Nate Diaz ripoff, but I love it. It's
Because
just
the
a cocky. Love it.
the finish is his personality, not the move. It's
Exactly.
the flex that's the finish. It's not
Yes.
the actual hold. It's the flex. Brian, that's why he's
Yeah.
the fucking best in the world. There's nobody that can touch Bryan Danielson. Even at fucking 40 years old, already coming out of retirement, and he's still fucking innovating and setting the world on fire. Like, fuck him. I wish I was that good.
I've got a feeling Bryan Danielson, at the end of his career, will have more people saying he was the best wrestler ever.
I'm already.
Just
The only thing that stops me from saying that is that AJ Styles is still a thing and Chris Jericho is still a thing. And god damn, is it very hard to pick between those three.
Oh man, wait till you see
Bryan Danielson.
Dynamite.
Bryan Danielson's still the best. In ring. I'll go this in ring. My favorite Bryan Danielson is the best wrestler in the ring today.
I think as far
He's
as,
beat out Kenny. He's beaten out Okada, in my opinion.
but what I'm saying,
He
in
is
the ring,
the
what
best
do you mean? 'Cause
wrestler
there's a
today.
lot. I think execution-wise, performing moves, like nobody can touch AJ Styles in execution. He never
Yeah, AJ Styles is
falls
definitely up
wrong
there.
ever. The dude's like a cat. Dude, he's never taken a bad bump. That's why he's still doing the shit he's doing right now, is because he executes every bump so perfectly. And you'll see Bryan Danielson get a little sloppy. He'll get in the heat of the emotion, and he's selling the character, and that's cool. Get sloppy at those moments because it's supposed to look like a fight. It makes sense. But AJ
What if
Styles,
that's on purpose?
but the thing is, AJ Styles still makes everything look so fucking crisp and perfect. Like I can't. And when I say best in, that's why it makes it so hard for me to pick. Because when I say the best in the ring, it's like, dude, Bryan Danielson can put together a match better. He can get things over better. His emotions, his character work, everything is better. The dude is in better shape than AJ Styles. I think that is for sure. Just look at his fucking body. But like, he still gets sloppy, and I don't think that that's on purpose every time. Whereas AJ Styles, like, dude, go back his entire career. That guy has never, ever been sloppy. Most of the botches in AJ Styles' career have been other people. Not that he's never had botches, but it's usually someone else fucking something up. There's
Sure.
got to be an award for that. Like, as far as that goes, AJ Styles is like an executional monster we've never seen before, not since like Bret Hart. And I think the only person even close to him right now is fucking Chuck Taylor.
Oh, wow! That's some hefty praise on Taylor.
Dude, did
Not
you
gonna lie
watch
to you.
his last match? Fuck, on Dynamite? Dude, that guy is
I haven't watched Dynamite
so-
yet, but I know what happens. But I haven't watched it.
He's so fucking
Oh,
smooth.
Dynamite was pretty good.
I'm like, how is this chubby fat nerd just as smooth and slick with every fucking thing he does at like
Everything.
AJ Styles?
Everything.
Dude, his finish is so fucking scary. I would be scared to take that fucking
Awful
brain,
Waffle?
yeah,
Yeah.
that brain buster fucking pile. I'm like, fuck, every time I see that thing, I'm like, dude, you've got to fucking trust that man. And I've never seen him fucking up, dude. That thing is
Why? He's given you no reason not to trust him. That dude is. I don't want to say flawless, but man, he is crisp when it comes to the in-ring. And honestly, that's how he's been for a really long time. Go back and watch some of his Chikara stuff. I mean, the dude was so good. I mean, hell, he's a PWG champion at one point. He beat Ricochet. I want to say it was Ricochet's last match in PWG. Ricochet dropped the belt to Chuck Taylor, and people went bananas for it. Taylor is good. He's just not the jacked, over the top, You know,
didn't
he's
have a
got
look.
character and personality, but it's not main event personality, if that makes any sense.
He reminds me
Um,
of Brad Armstrong. Everything you
Sure,
heard
yes.
about Brad Armstrong, like, dude, this guy is like the greatest, but he didn't look like Hulk Hogan. And
He's
it's like,
just missing something. Yes.
yeah, and I feel like that's Chuck Taylor. Like, you look at that guy,
Yep.
and he's one of the few people that's not Japanese that I think can hang with AJ Styles on execution. I think as far as execution goes, in the West, we have AJ Styles, Chuck Taylor, Bryan Danielson, and Kenny Omega, who can do everything perfectly almost every time, and then a huge drop-off. And in Japan, there aren't very many people on that level. There's like Okada and like Tanahashi that are on that level, but like everybody else on average is way better than your average Western wrestler. It's just our best is better than their best, I think.
Right.
Potentially. I also think it just depends on the style that you're working, because you could say that about, there's lucha guys that you could probably say that about. You know, I'm sure there's
Yeah, but
there's a
most of
lot,
the
and we just
lucha
don't
guys-
see it.
Most of the lucha guys that are actually good and not just lazy, sloppy lucha wrestlers are the ones that work out here.
Oh, they definitely break out. That's for sure. Yes.
Because, like, a lot of people that don't follow lucha, like, dude, a lot of lucha is really bad, okay? It's not like you're going to put on AAA and find a card of just Banditos versus Rey Fenix. Like, there's a lot of really bad lucha out there. Even on AAA, these guys are awful.
As someone who's even seen the legends of lucha in person and up close, a lot of them are still awful. Just the drizzling shits.
Yeah, just like the ones that are like known up here are known for a reason. Like, people know about Psychosis and Rey Mysterio for a reason, because back in the 90s, they were the only ones that were any fucking good. Like, and even now today, it's like, dude, you got Vikingo, you got Bandito, and obviously Lucha Brothers that are known out here as far as wrestling goes. But, like, that's the cream of the crop in Mexico, man. A lot of luchadors in Mexico are just fat dudes that they can't even do a 3/4 roll, man. Like, they just refuse. Like, I've never seen someone fuck up a roll. I'm like, dude, it's momentum. Like, the laws of physics make you roll over. Why are you laying down? How does this work?
Yeah. Oh, speaking of Rey Mysterio, hey, 2K22 though, how you guys liking it?
Right, that was like the next topic we were gonna cover was 2K22 just released. Like what, Friday?
Oof. I think it was Friday. Yeah, on the 11th, I think.
We've had with it. Yeah, something like
Man.
that. We've all picked it up.
It's been out a week.
Yeah,
I got it. I was actually watching Dave play on Twitch.
Oh,
I want to say it was like last Wednesday or Thursday. I want to say it was the day the pre-order release came out. And I was watching him wrestle. He was doing a match with Cesaro and Brock in Hell in a Cell. And holy crap, Dave was just getting worked.
Oh, man,
and then I was playing the
bro.
game. I was playing the game at the same time and running through the exact same problem. It's and I know it was the controls. I think it's the control scheme, because I haven't had that issue since kind of learning the controls. I don't know what your guys' feedback on that was.
Really?
But
I've
dude,
been
at first
rocking.
on normal mode, I was just getting destroyed.
Dude, I've been
Oh man,
crushing it.
the AIs are tough this year, man. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh, don't go into my faction mode. If you think the AI is tough, my faction is cheap. Like, it's like legit cheap. Like,
Damn.
so like the AI, like usually I set the AI to be kind of smart and reverse a lot of shit, so that way my matches seem kind of cool and not just squash matches of me just beating everybody.
Right.
You know, because I primarily just play universe mode, so I like the drama and the tension in my WWE games. This time around, dude, I felt that the AI was actually kind of like easy in the showcase mode and in like regular matches and shit. I'm like, dude, I went through all of GM mode and I just slayed everything. I feel like because I play a lot of fighting games and they made this a very fighting game kind of game, I'm like, I figured this shit out quickly. I was like, oh, fuck, I could dial in. Oh, I could break their combos with this. Oh, I could do this. Oh, yeah, this shit is easy. Oh, I'm going to fuck everybody up. And I just went on a rampage last night with fucking Raquel Gonzalez and Io Shirai just destroying the fucking My Faction towers. Just all fucking, like, the AI has to cheat in My Faction. Because, like, I was destroying everybody so bad, and every match was taking like an hour because the AI could not beat me with cheating, but like it wouldn't allow me to win. Like they would just kick out of everything or reverse every finisher or reverse every submission. Pins would be broken by every tag partner. Like everything they did to extend the match, they would extend the match, and they still couldn't fucking beat me.
Damn.
Wow.
That's why I'm saying, you guys want this smoke, dog? Let me show you what's up with Kelvin.
Oh,
Step
man.
up. Step up.
Step up. Oh, we're getting the
Step-
call out on the
Oh,
podcast.
I'll let you pick my character, and you can pick your main,
Dang.
and I will squash you.
Right?
I'm not gonna lie, I got used to the reversals though. I don't know, this game,
Yeah.
man, feels so much alive though, man, compared to the
Yes.
other ones. It feels like a 2K game. Like,
It's faster paced, dude. I love that the camera angle isn't just the entire ring from hard cam. I love that it's zoomed in like half ring. Dude, this game feels so much better. Yeah, is it shallow? Absolutely. I think GM mode has a lot that it could be improved on, which is a good thing.
See,
Don't
but
want to get
that's
everything out front, then what's the point of the next game?
I don't
know,
think it's shallow though. Like I think that some of the modes are shallow, but I think this
That's
is
what I
probably
meant.
one
The
of
modes,
modes
yeah,
are
modes,
shallow.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I
GM
agree.
mode,
the gameplay
GM mode,
is
you can
the
only
deepest
have
they've
a
ever had.
world champ.
Oh.
Best gameplay ever. But in GM mode, you can only have a world champ and a women's champ, and that's it. There's no tag teams.
Have you tried
no
to play
intercontinental.
hardcore GM mode?
No.
Okay, you're gonna be grateful that there's just one fucking champ. That mode gets insane, dog. People
But like
that
you go
have not played
like
it,
SmackDown versus Raw 2006 or 7. I'm trying to remember which one it was. The one that Xavier Woods and Tyler Breeze were
think that was
playing a
08,
lot for
right?
a few years. If you go back and look at that mode, that was something I was kind of hoping that's what this would be, where you get 5-6 matches, a couple promos. This time it's 3 matches for your main card, and then I think it's 6 for a pay-per-view. Four for a pay-per-view?
But I didn't like. There might be certain cause see the thing is I didn't do the super duper hardcore mode, right? So I did a 15-week, the shortest season, but I tried to make it hard, and and it was a lot of fun. And micromanaging everything, like if you're trying to play on a higher difficulty, and managing your roster, your budget, your fan base, the matchups, like all of that, it's a lot. And having only 2 belts to look after, because like people don't take into consideration the rest of the mode offers. They're like, oh, I don't get tag champs, and it's like, dude, you got to think about how to manage like the lighting system. Because like if you don't have proper lights set up, and like you don't get the bonus, and you have to build your card around the lighting. So if you have this lighting setup, you need matches that take advantage of it. And it's like, fuck, dude, if I was doing that for like however many fucking belts are in the fucking, like on just Raw, right? You got a world title, intercontinental, women's title, tag title, and then a women's tag title in real life, right? That's what's on Raw today. Like managing all of that in GM mode would be a lot.
Okay.
It would be a lot, and I could see that as being something that the developers would want to hold back on, because what they have there actually gets pretty in-depth. Now that I've played through and finished a whole season, all it did was it made me want to go through and do the long season. So you can do a 15-week, 30-week, and then you can do the whole year, which is you start the day after WrestleMania, and then you play until WrestleMania. And the people are like, oh, well, it doesn't carry over. That's so stupid. And I'm like, yeah, because the whole point of GM mode is that everything resets again after WrestleMania. That's the built-in fucking story of GM mode. Why would you carry over your save after WrestleMania? What's the point?
That I'm good with, yeah.
Yeah, the whole thing is the draft restarts. The fucking roster restarts after WrestleMania. Oh, I'm sorry, you don't get to keep Brock Lesnar. You gotta redraft him. That's what the whole point of the story mode is supposed to be. All the game is doing is enforcing the actual rules that WWE fucking ignores. And now people are sad because like they can't break the rules like WWE does. I guess that makes it less like the show, but I think it's actually cool because one of the complaints people have always had about current modern post brand split, post invasion WWE is that they never followed the rules of the draft. So now you have an option to play out a year of WWE if they had to follow the rules of the draft and see what that's like. I think that's more interesting than just repeating the same feuds and shit that I see on Raw. You watch people playing Universe mode, and it's like, oh, yeah, you have Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar in the main event? Wow. Yeah, I totally couldn't just put on fucking Royal Rumble and see that shit happen. You know, whereas like in this game,
That
it's
is
like,
true.
dude, WWE has to follow the rules of the draft and of the brand split. So like, this is what it would be like, and I think it's actually cool. I think GM mode has a lot more going on with it if people really tinkered with it and played with it, because there's a lot of hidden depth. Like, I get that. Like, I'm sorry you can't have tag champs. Like, and it would be cool if they did, but seeing how crazy, dude, because like, man, I had fucking Shayna Baszler, the fucking bitch, dude. She threatened to fucking walk out on me with the fucking women's title and take it to fucking Raw if I didn't give her $100,000 that night. And I had to book a show.
Damn.
She Ultimate Warriored you.
Yeah, and it
Ultimate
also-
Warriors.
The thing is, in order to book the quality of shows that I have, it cost me $100,000. That was my budget. I was working on a very thin margin to maximize the output for the fans. But then she hits me
Right.
with that, so I had to do a shitty show that night in a fucking basketball in a fucking high school gym to pay her. She fucking held me at ransom for the fucking belt. I had to pay her ass and do a shitty show, which cost me like 9,000 fans. So you goddamn right, the opening matchup, I took that belt off her ass and put it on Sasha Banks where it fucking belongs. Fuck you. Contract's over. I spent $100,000 to keep my fucking belt. That's what the fuck happens in GM mode.
That's pretty cool.
Like, that shit is tight, dude. I don't know why people don't think that shit is tight. Like, those kind of stories, like, that's what it was really like to be Vince McMahon. Dude, GM mode gives you a little bit of insight into what it's like to be Vince McMahon, and I think it's really fucking cool how in-depth it is.
That is
Like,
cool.
yeah, you don't get tag champs, right? Okay, sorry, you don't have a mid-card belt. But, like, dude, like, you get to interact with the wrestlers, and they have their own motivations, their own thoughts, their own wants. Dude, Bobby Lashley pulled out on me the morning before WrestleMania. Just walked out and said, you know what, man? I'm sick of this shit, and I'm fucking leaving. And I had been catering to his ass the whole fucking season because he was one of my biggest stars, and I was building him up to get the fucking belt, right? I was building him up to be my next big star, and then just one day, right before WrestleMania, he's just like, yeah, you know what? I fucking quit. And I'm like, what the hell did I do to piss him off? I have no fucking clue. And that's GM mode, dude. There's something that I did in the game because he has his own motivations. And you as a GM have to figure that shit out, otherwise you lose all your talent.
That's pretty cool.
And not having
is pretty
talent is a problem because people get fucking... Managing whether or not someone gets hurt or injured is like its own big thing, man. Its own big thing because it's just like in real life, dude. Like you could sit there and sign a card that's all Roman Reigns, Randy Orton, and John Cena, and then now you have no money for fucking lights, and you have to have your matches in a high school gym. You know, like that kind of shit. But like, you know, you're clearly if your card is just Ivar from the War Riders taking on, you know, fucking somebody from Phantasmo, and that's your main event,
Right.
like, you gotta have some star power. Like, there's strategy behind it. Like, you gotta have a legend. You gotta have a main eventer. Who do you want to have your belt? Because they get a bonus for having the belt, so you want the belt on, like, a star that could really be big, but you don't want them to get too much big, because then they'll walk out on you with the belt, cost your ass $100,000. Fucking Shayna Baszler. I'm
Jeez.
never drafting that bitch again.
Man,
Sign her
this
as a
the
fucking
core
free agent.
gameplay though, man. This game feels so much alive compared to all the other ones though.
Yeah.
Like I like how they when you do a move, it cuts to like a camera angle where it's like it makes it feel like there's impact to it, you know? Like
Mhm.
I think that's pretty cool. That's a little cool like the amount of details in this game are crazy.
I'm happy that they took a year off. I'm happy
Oh,
that
yeah.
we had 2.5 years in between releases, and if you really think about it, 3.5 years since we had a playable game. You know,
True.
I'm happy with it. You know, I thought we could have been. This game could have been shit. Let's be honest.
It
could
could
have been shit.
terrible. Yeah.
I think they redeemed themselves, and in a way, I hope WWE gives them a shot for a sequel and backs everything up. You know, because I know that I read that the report that they were talking with EA.
Yeah, I've been hearing about that too.
But if you think
rumor.
about it, think about that. Think about if if this is the last 2K game and we go to EA after this. One, we ain't getting a game next year. That's for
Nope.
damn sure.
Definitely not.
Two, it's going to. I don't know if you guys played 2K15. It was I want to say that was the first game fully made under the 2K banner.
Yeah.
And oh shit, that when you say that game was shallow, the entire game was shallow. The roster was shallow. The creations was shallow. It was awful. Probably next to 2K20, the worst game they put out. Didn't look bad, but just you could just tell they just didn't have a whole lot of time to get everything together.
That game was lifeless for sure.
Yeah.
Well, see, the thing I see with 2K,
I think that's what would happen if EA took the license. If EA takes the license, we're going to get a shallow game for the very first one, in my opinion.
Okay, so I'm going to touch on that in a second. But what I was going to say beforehand is I think the issue with 2K22 is that it is an excellent, amazing video game, but it is not a good WWE game.
True.
That's, I think, the issue, and people haven't been able to intimate that. They haven't been able to really express that. It is an amazing video game. To play this thing is fun as fuck, and like it's about as polished as any yearly game is gonna be, so it's still got some jank to it, but like it's not any more janky than any other yearly churned out game. It's a very good video game, but as far as satisfying the needs of the people who have been playing 2K19 and 2K20 for the past 2 years, I feel like it's fallen short on some of the stuff that those games delivered that this game does not, as a WWE property, not as a video game, just as a WWE experience.
True. And it makes me question, man, is this going to be the last good wrestling game for a long time? You know?
If it is, then 2K19 is the last good wrestling game in a long time. Because I don't feel like this game surpasses 2K19. I think, if anything, it's like a sidewalk. Because all the cool shit that they've added doesn't negate the dumb shit that they've done.
Well, I don't know. I would probably compare it to 2K19 in terms of I'm having as much fun with this game as I did with 19.
True.
Yeah, that's what I'm
me
saying,
too.
that it's equal. It didn't surpass.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
definitely equal,
to
yeah.
it. So if we're going to say the last like good game that they've released, I would say it was 2K19, because 2K22 was just playing catch up and tying the lead with 2K19. But 2K19, when it released, it was unanimously like, yo, this is the best wrestling game we've gotten in a while. And they haven't topped 2K19. So 2K19, I think, is going to end up there with like No Mercy and WCW Revenge as like one of the greatest of all time.
I think 22 is going to take its place. I think the cross-platform creations, as we get more in depth into that, are going to see this game take off. I mean, just think about like what we were talking about last night, Badger, with the PC guys getting into the files of the game, pulling out, Dominic Dijakovic from MyRise and putting him into creations and uploading.
That's pretty sick. That's pretty sick.
I think we're gonna get some insane, dude. The freaking renders that you can now
add
upload,
custom renders, dude. That shit is kind of game changing. I'm not gonna lie.
I downloaded Defracts, Kenny Omega, and Chris Jericho. Man, they might as well have been in the game. Everything felt so smooth with them.
They just don't have the entrance theme and that.
I know, that's what
shit
sucks,
bothers
man.
me.
I just downloaded MJF and I just put his render on yesterday.
Yeah, I haven't downloaded any creations. I've been actually just playing the game because I know that if I sit there and do that, I'm going to spend entire days fucking with universe settings and downloading creations. That's what I was telling Ryan Stone the other day. I was like, dude, it's the fucking 2K cycle, right? You get the new game, but you don't actually play it. You now spend the next fucking 4 weeks setting up your universe mode, and then after a month you can play. You're like, I have set everything up. Now I can play 2K.
Right.
That's true.
So like,
that
I'm trying to just play the actual game because like as a YouTuber, people are asking me questions and shit like on my streams, like how is the game? And I'm like, fuck, I need to play through these modes so that way I can like talk to people about this shit when they ask me. So I haven't done any of my actual personal enjoyment of the game. I mean, I've been enjoying it, but like not the stuff that I want to do. It's like, going through my GM mode, which I think is a game changer. I think my GM mode is fantastic. I love this.
I'm going to give it another shot.
Give it another shot and try to like really like plan your strategies and really get in depth with it. I think if you finish the whole season, then like at the end of it, it makes you want to start with the short season, the 15 weeks, and then see after you finish the season if you like it. And don't be afraid to simulate matches. Because I would simulate matches that were not important. Like if I had a mid-card feeder match just because I needed a match, and it's like, oh, it's Arya Davari versus Brian Kendrick again. Like, whatever. I'm not going to play that match. I'll just skip it. And so it made the season go pretty quick.
I probably did 8 or 9 weeks already, but I started the full 52-week season. Yeah, because I got through. I'm up to my second pay-per-view, but I kind of got a little dissatisfied. And I think my problem was like what you just said, start with the small one. I think I just went to try to go full on right off the bat, and it just wasn't working. And I really wasn't paying attention to much. I was just kind of booking matches to book matches. I think I had Cesaro as my first champ, and he did a feud with Roman, and won. And then he did a feud with Tyler Breeze, and I had Breeze as my Universal champ for a minute. But Cesaro kept stealing it off of him. But I just kind of, out of the other matches, I was just kind of like, and I was starting to get like oh, you can't book Walter and Roman. That match is going to get a poor rating. I'm like, damn, I want to see that match though.
Well, you could book whatever matches you want, but the whole idea is like, it doesn't start getting interesting until the other faction starts fucking with you. Like, or not the other faction, the other show, right? Till they start playing Monday Night Wars with you, and then it starts getting interesting. But they really don't do that except for like right before pay-per-views. And so, yeah, okay, you'll get to experience it more often in the longer season because you're doing more pay-per-views, but like in the shorter season, you get to those pay-per-views quicker. So, like, instead of, like, you know, playing through this long-ass season and the AI starting out kind of, like, easy on you in the early pay-per-views, because the season is so short, the AI gets really, really aggressive quite quickly. So, like, it becomes an actual Monday Night War. Like, fuck you, man. I'm signing Roman Reigns. Like, I'm taking that shit. You piece of shit. Stephanie McMahon. So when you do the shorter season, it's a little bit more aggressive and you actually get to see a lot of the cooler shit. Like towards the end of the season, and then you're like, oh shit, now I want to do a long season, because if I have a long season at the beginning when the AI is playing nice, I can build up and prepare, and then once those pay-per-views start hitting and the AI starts fucking with me, I'll have my shit ready. That's when you want to do the longer season, when you have an idea of how you're going to fuck with the other GM. But if you don't and you're just learning, do the short season, because then you see all stages of what the player or what the wrestlers and the other GMs are going to do. And then you can kind of strategize around that. Although I will say early on, I found that William Regal is probably the best GM for the short season, and I think Stephanie McMahon is the best GM for a mid-season. And then the long seasons, I'm up in the air on Adam Pearce and Shane McMahon. I'm up in the air on them. And I don't know much about Sonya Deville, but, like, all of them do something different. Like, Stephanie McMahon and William Regal have to do with money. Adam Pearce and Shane McMahon have to do with getting fans. And Sonya Deville is all about Sonya Deville and your created GM, the one that you make, are all about keeping your wrestlers happy. So,
yeah, because Adam Pearce, I think, because that's what I played as first, and I only picked him because I know the guy.
Well,
I picked Pearce because it gives you a boost in your rivalries. Your rivalries have a better, perform better.
Well, all that does is it gives you more fans. So if you so Adam Pearce gives you more fans, and the way to win GM mode is to have more fans at the end. It doesn't matter.
And that's exactly why I picked Pearce.
Yeah, so he gets you more fans, but you end up being kind of stagnant for a while because you can't take advantage of the fan base that you're gaining because you're always broke. So, like, you're like, oh, man, I gained fans. Let me put on a big matchup to really maximize the momentum. Oh, shit, I don't have any money. And so that's in the long run, that's actually going to help, because if you play a slow, steady, conservative game and you play really, really cheap, then you're going to build this, like, super hardcore fan base that never, because it's built into the game that 10% of your audience will never leave. That's your hardcore fans. So the bigger you
Okay.
get, the bigger that 10% gets, the bigger your hardcore fan base gets. And so someone like Adam Pearce makes that fan base really, really strong, which allows you to be cheap to save money without losing your fans. So he's like good in the long term, but early on you're going to be struggling because you don't have any way to get the money that you're saving. But dude, like I said, man, I'm about to get deep in GM mode because I'm like a financial
Yeah,
wizard
same
and
here. I need to
shit.
try it out
So
myself.
like all this math and numbers and money, and like that shit's right up my alley. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. I get to fuck around like I'm the bank. Hell yeah, I ain't paying you shit, fucking Arya Davari. Kick rocks, homie.
That's awesome.
I love it.
I'm gonna jump into it. I want to play it some more now.
Have you guys tried My Faction yet?
I played for about
I
like
was playing
20
My
minutes.
Faction,
Yeah,
It's pretty
I got all my packs, and I think I did one match, and that was it.
Yeah, fuck My Faction. My Faction outright just cheats. The AI in My Faction is way.
It's a card game basically in a game, in my opinion. Like,
yeah, but
it's just like
they reverse like literally everything. You have to be really careful about like how you fucking even hit them because they'll just reverse after reverse after reverse. Like you have to like if you want to you have to actually the thing is you have to actually play it like a fucking video game. Like you have to get them into stun where they're stunned and you see the bar that says stunned if you want to try a finishing move. Cuz otherwise they're going to reverse it every time. So like you have to be strategic about it. That's probably why I'm like doing well cuz you guys are playing it like a wrestling game. Like, yo dude, I want to do a table spot and it's like I'm playing it like a video game and I'm like, "Oh fuck. Like, this guy keeps working my leg. Like, I need to, like, do this and this and this."
Man, there's I think one topic we should talk about before we wrap it up is the Scott Hall.
Right? We got to end it on a light note, right? End it on a light note. Those just tuning in. Scott Hall recently passed away. Yeah, man.
Legend, man. No doubt a legend, dude.
It's crazy to see some of the things that's coming out about him lately. You know, with he goes up to Sting one day and just says, "Hey, have you ever seen The Crow?" You know, it's like, damn, Scott made Crow Sting and changed that dude's career. You know, dude, Scott Hall, yeah, man, one of the greatest ever. I think one of the best binds for wrestling.
I think Scott Hall is proof 100% that you'll never make it in the wrestling business as a wrestling fan alone. Scott Hall brought up a very big point that I think only Darby Allin seems to get. And Bryan Danielson kind of touches on it a lot. So Scott Hall said, like, listen, man, the reason why all of my gimmicks and everyone thinks I'm a genius is because I liked shit other than wrestling. And, like, I liked movies, and I just added movies to my wrestling shit. And everybody else just thinks about wrestling in terms of wrestling. And how am I going to get my wrestling over with wrestling? And it's like, dude, if you just add movies to wrestling, now you're a fucking genius. And I was like, damn, Scott Hall. Like, even Scott Hall was such a genius that he told you that he wasn't a genius and explained why he wasn't a genius. And that's the fucking genius of Scott Hall. Like that right there.
Yeah.
Right.
Scott Hall's the reason why I liked wrestling. Ryan Stone was there, and he was the one that introduced me to wrestling, and he remembers the first guy that was over with me was Razor Ramon. That was the first wrestler that I was like, that's my guy. Razor Ramon is my fucking guy. And I was so devastated when because I remember you told me at lunch in middle school, you were like, dude, we had just discovered the internet. He had just discovered the dirt sheets. And he's like, dude, I just found out that Vader's coming to WWF. And I was like, fuck yeah, fucking Vader. We won. And he was like, but Diesel and Razor are going to WCW. And I was like, no, why can't I just have everything I want? I want Diesel and Razor and Vader. Like, why do I have to gain Vader but lose Razor Ramon? I was devastated for weeks. And when he showed up on Nitro, it was such a heartbreak, dude. I was so sad. I was like, you motherfucker, WCW sucks. You left us. And then he started the NWO, and WCW stopped sucking very, very quickly.
Yeah. Man,
dude,
the character is so... No, man, Scott Hall's a legend, dude. Like, iconic.
And just to hear all the things like the good guy stuff behind it. I know everyone's heard that, what's better, show friends or show business? What is this? And I get what he was saying. And the dude revolutionized. I mean, guaranteed money contracts is how everyone does it now.
The thing
That's
is,
all Scott and Kevin, but hearing the things that he helped the guys in the back, there's a buddy of mine was, he's been wrestling since the 90s. So he was around when WWF would do these massive tapings, and it would always be, star versus job guy. And he got to wrestle some of the biggest wrestlers in WWF. Scott Hall, he wrestled Yoko, he wrestled Shawn, and he put out a story after Scott Hall passed, and he said he was wrestling Scott. It was like a Superstars taping, and after the match, Scott was just so excited. I guess the guy sold for Scott very, very well. And Scott was just like, "Hey, yeah, this kid's awesome. This kid's great. Bring him in every time we're here." And this was in San Diego. And I guess he saw this a few months later. The guy was doing another set of extra work for WWF, but this time it was out in Phoenix. And as he's walking up, he sees Scott Hall talking to one of the producers. And Scott's pointing at him, and he doesn't know what's going on. One of the producers walks up to my buddy and just goes, "Well, looks like we found someone to wrestle Shawn Michaels tonight," and keeps walking. It was because of Scott. Scott put in a word from just a job guy. And the guy wasn't going to get, a win over Shawn or anything like that. But he knew this job guy made him look good. So he's putting in a good word for him with the agents and producers and writers to get this guy against his buddies to make them look good. Scott didn't have to do that for a job guy, but he did. And that's pretty cool.
When nobody did nothing for job guys.
Right.
That's true.
Jeff Hardy credits his career to Scott Hall. He said the only reason why he got over was because they started as job guys and Scott Hall would bump for Jeff Hardy. Because Scott Hall saw that Jeff Hardy was getting over with the girls. And so Scott was like, "Yeah, man, I'll let this guy bump me. It'll get me a little bit of heat while I'm beating up this pretty boy. It just works for the match." But like Scott Hall bumping in his matches for Jeff Hardy when Jeff Hardy was a job guy was big. And that's what led to the Hardy Boys even getting a shot in the first place. And Jeff Hardy said that.
And that's why you go back and watch a lot of those matches. You can see the guys that actually gave a shit about the job guys.
Right.
Well, yes, every match was, 3 minutes, and you don't have to take a bunch of bumps from the job guy. You could just one, but just giving them that little bit gives them a little bit of credibility.
Giving them that little bit of shine, it makes a difference.
It's the same thing when you watch like AEW Dark. Sure, you got your random squash matches here and there, but what do you usually get for the most part? Competitive matches. That's not only making your guy better by defeating a guy who pushed him to the limit, but it's also making those guys better in the eyes of the fans. Oh my God, this guy bumped Kenny Omega. Holy shit, he might not be as bad as we thought. He may not be some scrub,
Well,
that's what it takes.
I think it all goes back to, again, Scott Hall admits that he was not a wrestling fan. And he says, like, in order to make it in the wrestling business, you can't really be a wrestling fan. Like, Scott Hall was like, "Yeah, dude, I was never a mark for myself. Like, I never cared about getting belts and shit like that.
That is
I didn't
huge,
care.
yeah.
This is a job." He's like, "It's a job that I love, and I gave my life for this job, and I got a lot out of it. And I definitely wouldn't have traded this job for any other job. But, like, yo, dude, I'm not really Razor Ramon."
I saw a tweet, and it was pretty funny. It was the day that Scott passed, and it said Scott Hall was so cool that even when us Hispanics found out that he wasn't really Hispanic when he was Razor Ramon, we still accepted him.
Right? Right? I was
That's funny.
explaining to my wife, I was like, "Yeah, he's supposed to be Cuban." And she's like, "He looks Cuban." And I'm like, "He's very not Cuban. He's like very, very spray tan to look like he's Cuban." And she's like,
yeah.
"Isn't that kind of like blackface?" And I'm like, "No, it's 1993 is what it is."
Dude, you should show her a picture of Scott in the AWA.
Oh, yeah, with the fucking Jufro and the mustache.
Dude, yes.
Hell yeah. Like, and that's the thing, man. Scott Hall, like, God, he was legit the guy that got me into wrestling. Like, I can honestly say, like, and you were there. Not even God is my witness. You were there. He was the first wrestler that it was like, "Yeah, that's my favorite wrestler. Like, yo, that's my guy. I want him to win every match." And so I don't know, man. That one really hit me hard. I kind of blacked out, or like social media blackout kind of thing. Like I kind of backed off and like didn't really talk to anybody. Was kind of just mellow for like a day or so, because like that one, you know, like that's someone that was such a huge part of my life as a child. And granted, I eventually, you know, I stopped watching wrestling. My enjoyment of it waxed and waned. But you never forget who your first favorite wrestler was. And that was Razor Ramon for me. That was my first favorite wrestler.
Dude, yeah, I remember that. I remember it was him. Dude, you were a huge mark for 1-2-3 Kid. I mean, what two better guys could you have been a mark for? I mean, Sean Waltman and Scott Hall, dude.
Well, it's like
I'd put them both together in terms of impact on the business. Those two guys are tops.
Yeah, like greatest of all time. You know, like Sean Waltman made cruiserweight wrestling a thing. Like before him, it just was not a thing. And then when he got over, WCW started their cruiserweight division. Like it was not a thing outside of Mexico and Japan. But like he made it. And Scott Hall invented the NWO. Like that was Scott Hall made that thing happen. It wouldn't have happened if Scott Hall did not come out on Nitro acting like Razor Ramon. Would not have fucking happened. If he came out as Scott Hall and he had the mustache and the Jufro and he was the Diamond Stud making his return to WCW, nobody would have given two shits. It was Razor Ramon showing up, and that changed the fucking world. Like
I remember one of my favorite matches was Razor Ramon versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 10.
Yep.
Man, that ladder match was iconic. Like, dude.
I think their second was better.
The second one was better?
The SummerSlam one?
95?
Oh, the SummerSlam one was really good, too.
I think it was 94.
It was 95. It was the one where Diesel fought Mabel, so I want to say 95, because Mabel was 95 King of the Ring, right?
Oh, you're right, yep.
Yeah, so like, because remember, Gorilla Monsoon was the fan-friendly president of the WWF, and that's why he booked that ladder match. He was like, and I know the backstage politics is like Shawn Michaels didn't want to put over Vader or some shit like that, like, or somebody didn't want to work with somebody, so they rebooked the card to where, Sid, that's right, Sid bailed out to do softball because it was supposed to be Shawn Michaels versus Sid, and he bailed out to do softball, and then Ultimate Warrior flaked on another match, so they made up for it by having Shawn Michaels Razor ladder match too. That was it. Yeah. Now I remember, and I thought the second ladder match was better than the first.
I think I really enjoy. It was Razor and Brett really from Royal Rumble. I think it was Rumble '93.
Oh, Razor and Brett, first and only real main event.
Yeah. They also had a really great match at King of the Ring '93. But yeah, Rumble '93, I want to say it was. Brett and Razor, dude. Great match.
Razor wrestling with like a torn fucking tendon or some shit? Like he had a bad knee. Or
he might have. It wouldn't shock me.
A bad knee or a bad back, and I remember that was an issue because I remember seeing something from Bret Hart because he discussed it with Razor beforehand, and it was the knee that you normally work, so it was his left knee, and so he was like, it was hard to put that match together because they had to work Japanese style, and Scott Hall did not know how to work Japanese style. Or something like that. I haven't watched the match in forever, but like Bret Hart goes into how they covered up how banged up Razor was because that was Razor's first shot in the main event, and he knew if he fucking took time off to like rehab his injury, he was never going to get that shot again.
And that's how it was back then, absolutely.
Right? I mean, it just goes to show how good Bret Hart and Scott Hall were. That nobody knew Scott Hall was like, he apparently after that loss, he like went right away to the hospital the next day to get surgery. Like he was fucked up, like bad, and people did not know that. And that's I think Scott Hall said that was one of his biggest regrets was that because he never really had another good match opportunity like main event against Bret Hart like that. And he said that his performance in that match was not as good as he had wanted to have a main event with Bret Hart. And I'm like, fuck, dude, people love that match. Like, Scott Hall says that's not, like, he was disappointed and he regrets that match. And I'm like, fuck, everybody cites that as one of his best matches ever.
Brett, when Scott died, Brett even put that out there as one of his favorite matches, as a good match with Scott. He said, "I really enjoyed my match at Rumble '93 with him."
Yeah. So like, damn, that's what kind of a
I'll
perfectionist
watch it
Scott
again.
Hall was. That like one of the matches that everyone thinks is his best is like the one that he probably thought was his worst. I mean, granted, he was probably in agonizing pain the whole fucking time.
Right.
And that probably just added to the realism. Like nothing makes a fight realistic or a wrestling match realistic than you going in with a legit knee injury against Bret fucking Hart. That's all he does. Work the goddamn leg. Your leg is already fucking hurting. It's not hard to sell for this man at this point. I bet
Yep.
you those.
Oh man, I'm gonna go back and watch that match tomorrow. That's
That's
on
a good
my
match.
list.
Yeah, it's definitely. I need to go back and watch me some old Razor Ramon. I liked his work as Razor Ramon better than Scott Hall. Gotta be honest. I felt like his work
I'm with you.
after.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
like his character work and all that, like it was over, but his matches, like when he was Scott Hall, that was like the peak of his like drugs and two somas
Exactly.
and a 6-pack of beer. So like his matches were garbage in WCW. Like they were just not good. Like you go back and you see his stuff in the WWF, you see his feud with Sean Waltman, you see his feud with Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, you know, he had some good shit. He had some gold shit back in the day.
But
man.
then he comes back, wrestles Steve Austin at WrestleMania 18, and does one of the best Stone
Best
Cold
sells.
Stunner sells of all
the
time.
sell was great.
He didn't
That
even
sounds
do
great.
nothing. He just let the momentum carry his ass, and he ended up doing a backflip.
Dude, he was so good. Man, that just float into the air and back bump was, oh man, it was beautiful. It's best stunner sell ever. He sold it better. I loved how the Rocks took it. I think the Rock is number 2, Scott Hall number 1.
I just think it's funny that like everybody loved that match. Everybody said Stone Cold versus Scott Hall at WrestleMania was dope, and yet both Scott Hall and Stone Cold hate that match. And I'm like, damn, man. That's like
That
a
is crazy to
dream
say that,
match,
right?
you know? Stone Cold Steve Austin
Right,
versus
right.
Scott Hall from the NWO actually did happen, and it was fucking good, and nobody remembers it or cares because it was on the same card as Hogan versus The Rock.
Well, I mean, you know, when you got the two biggest draws of all time
Yeah,
wrestling
that
each other,
overshadowed everything on that card.
it should have gone on last. Yes.
Yeah, but like Stone Cold versus Scott Hall was actually a damn good match, and apparently Scott Hall was wasted the whole fucking time, which
Oh, that sucks.
it just blows your mind how good that guy was to be able to do that and be that good, that messed up. It's like, damn. Imagine how good he would have been if he wasn't fucked up, and we saw a taste of it as Razor Ramon.
We did, yep.
That was like the early Razor Ramon, I think, like right up until maybe the middle of 95, right before he left WWF. When he was feuding with Jeff Jarrett, I think was when he was starting to kind of phone it in, and I think that was more or less he was just tired of being in WWE. But like everything up to his feud with Jeff Jarrett, fucking golden. Scott Hall's just untouchable.
Yeah, man. It's a bummer, man. That was tough.
I remember when Scott Hall tased Goldberg.
Yes.
And, Kevin Nash hit him with the jackknife powerbomb to end the streak. That was crazy.
Dude, I
Oh
was
my
so
God.
mad when Scott Hall didn't join the Wolfpack. When he joined NWO Hollywood, I was
Yes,
so
you
fucking
were!
pissed. I was like, that motherfucker. I was like, dog, how could you turn your back on Big Daddy Cool? Y'all were supposed to be NWO for life. And now I find out that it was politicking from Hogan because Scott Hall wanted to be in the Wolfpack, and the original idea was that he would be in the Wolfpack. But Hogan was like, wait a minute, those are the two guys that are over in the NWO, and if they leave, I'm not going to stay over. They're going to get the spotlight. And so Hogan was like, nah, man, you can't have both of you versus me. I'm supposed to be the bad guy. So that was why Scott Hall didn't go over. But the original plan was for Scott Hall to go over to be, Wolfpack for life. And him
That would have been kind of sick. I'm not going to lie. That would have been sick.
Well,
That would've
and
been
that was
sick.
why they never had the throwdown, right? The NWO just kind of petered out. We never got Wolfpack versus Hollywood. We got Finger Poke of Doom, and it was because neither Hogan nor Nash wanted to budge. They didn't want to put each
Right.
other over. So they said, fuck it, we'll just combine the NWOs all over again. Because Nash's idea was, all right, man, Hogan, your time has come. It's time for me to carry the belt. And we're going to start this Wolfpack thing, me and Scott Hall. And we're going to do this, and, we're moving on. Hogan did not want to move on. And it
Wow.
sucks
That's no
because, like,
shocking.
dude, I wanted fucking Scott Hall and Kevin Nash in the Wolfpack. That first, like, 2 weeks when Scott Hall was in the Wolfpack, and the Wolfpack was Hall, Nash, Macho Man, Sting, Luger, and Conan. That was the best fucking faction. That was it.
True.
Dude, you look at that roster of that faction, you're like, God damn, dude, you make that a faction in any point in history, and that's like the main event scene. Like, the entire main event scene of your promotion is just that faction alone.
Yeah.
Like, it's like,
Yeah.
damn, man. And they lost Scott Hall, man. He went to Hollywood. Now he's in the great Hollywood in the sky.
But you know what we got out of it? Even on his last, I guess one of his biggest moments, you get the best quote from him of all time with his speech, man, at the Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah,
Oh, how
that was a great one. That was a great speech.
probably the best speech I'd ever seen at a Hall of Fame. And the way he tied it all together, I mean, the dude's brilliant. That dude's brilliant.
Did you see the interview from his speechwriter?
No.
So it's floating around on the internet, but the guy was like, yeah, I was the one that wrote the actual speech, and he was like, I went over it with Scott Hall, and the first thing Scott Hall said was, those fuckers take too fucking long telling their speeches. I don't want to be like that. He said, just make it short. Let me go up there, say thank you, and get the hell out of there. I don't want to take up anyone's time. And I'm like, damn, the one dude that everybody wishes had a longer fucking speech is the one dude that wanted the shortest. That's it, man. Bad times don't last forever. But bad guys do.
Bad guys do.
Fuck, I want to get
Legend,
that
man.
shit tattooed, man. I think that could be my first fucking tattoo, right?
That would be a sick
Bad
Yeah,
times
tattoo.
that'd be a
don't
sick.
last,
Yeah.
But bad guys do. Because, yeah, man. Razor Ramon dying, and he's always going to be Razor Ramon for me. Like, in wrestling, you always call someone by their first gimmick. I don't know why, but even in wrestling, man, people, like, they'll be coming up and talking to Rikishi, and he hasn't been Rikishi in over a decade. And they're like, oh, yeah, that's Kishi over there. You're like, all right. So he's always going to be Razor Ramon to me, man.
So you like the fact that he got inducted as Razor Ramon, not Scott Hall?
Yeah, like, I feel like his best work, his best times, the best everything that Scott Hall had to give the wrestling business is his work as Razor Ramon. The NWO only worked because of how good he was as Razor Ramon and them teasing him coming over as Razor Ramon. So to me, like, he's always going to be Razor Ramon, and I'm glad they inducted him as Razor Ramon before the NWO.
What do you think was more popular?
Yeah, the NWO, but, like, the NWO wasn't Scott Hall's thing. That was a collaboration between him, Nash, Hogan, and Bischoff. So it's like, yeah, he gets a large portion of the credit for that. 25% of all the credit, but it's still 25%. Razor Ramon was Scott Hall's creativity let loose and run wild, unchecked on its own. It wasn't him collaborating with someone. It was him showing what he could do to get himself over and him doing that. So yeah, Scott Hall, his Razor Ramon run that's what I think of him as.
What about you, Dave? Which run do you more?
Oh man, yeah, I definitely agree. Like the Razor Ramon character was so like legendary. Like I like Scott Hall. Don't get me wrong. Like the NWO is forever legendary, but yeah, Razor Ramon is definitely iconic for sure.
It's just funny because the NWO became so big that people, like, forget how big of a deal Razor Ramon was. Like, unless you were, like, a kid in that time, like, people are like, oh, yeah, Scott Hall, the NWO guy. And I'm like, no, dude, I don't think you understand. There's an entire generation of kids where Razor Ramon and Diesel were our Hulk Hogan. More so Razor than Diesel.
Right.
Razor should have gotten that belt. Okay, that year that Diesel had it should have been the year Razor had it. But Vince wanted to go for, the freak show rather than the workhorse. So Scott Hall didn't want the belt anyways, whatever, put it on Diesel. But Scott Hall was legit the most over babyface in the WWF at the time. He was more over than Bret and more over than Shawn at his peak.
Interesting.
At least as far as I saw when I started watching, because that was around the time when Bret Hart was starting.
Oh, yeah, Razor Ramon was definitely over, for sure.
He was tap dancing around his heel turn, though, right? Like, when Razor Ramon was at his peak was when Bret Hart was kind of waning a little bit. Peak Bret Hart, yeah, he can't be touched. But, like, at that moment when Razor Ramon was winning his third and fourth Intercontinental title run, and Brett was kind of off fighting Hakushi, yeah, Razor Ramon was the most over babyface in that promotion. That's my hot take. That's my hot take.
Right.
Interesting.
I just think that in terms of like Scott Hall's career, Razor Ramon was bigger than the NWO. For Scott Hall. For the rest of the world, the NWO is the biggest thing in the world. But like, I feel like, yeah, they should have inducted Scott by himself as Razor Ramon first to give him credit for what he did there, because without Razor Ramon, there is no NWO. Not Scott Hall. Without that character, there would have been no NWO. Because
I agree with you.
People come over all the time. Lex Luger came over to WCW before that. You know, like before the NWO, they've had people come in and out from WCW to WWF all the time. It wasn't until Scott Hall brought the gimmick. That's when it was like, oh, shit. You don't know who I am, or no, you don't know why I'm here, but you know who I am. That fucking line, dog. Gets it every time.
Yeah, dude.
Gets
man.
Every time.
I mean, especially when they came over with the Outsiders, man, on Nitro. Dude.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was at Badger's house when Nash showed up, and they did that whole thing where
I remember that
Scott Hall's standing there and he's taunting Bischoff and he's pointing behind him, and there's Kevin Nash. I'm pretty sure I was at your house when that happened, and we were marking out
because he powerbombed him through the table. We were like, he powerbombed Eric Bischoff through a table. Oh man,
that was pretty cool.
That was pretty cool.
NWO is for life, man. It's for life. Even after all these years, Hulk Hogan's an old racist piece of shit, but we still rock our NWO shirts. Like, we accept him, right? He let Stevie Ray join the crew. We know he's not really racist. He's just a dumbass. But we're still NWO for life. Still.
Wasn't it Stevie Ray and Virgil? Pretty sure, right?
Oh yeah, Virgil was Vincent.
Because Virgil is actually Hulk Hogan's like best friend or some shit.
Oh wow.
Virgil is crazy. Virgil is fucking crazy. I met him back in 2007, 2008, I want to say. It was at a convention. And the convention was a complete shit show. So it was actually cool to be on the inside to see how everything went to shit on the convention side of things. But we had to give Virgil a ride from the hotel back to the convention one day. Man, this dude is talking about how he's got buddies that are into demolitions and stuff. And he's like, because what happened with this convention, it was called Wrestle Fan Fest. If you ever want to Google a convention that just completely blew up in the promoter's face, Google Wrestle Fan Fest. It was a 3-day convention at the Cow Palace in San Francisco. And it was supposed to be Ring of Honor's debut on the West Coast. It happened. Everything happened as planned. Stone Cold was there. All these people were there. Goldberg, Eric Bischoff, but almost nobody got paid.
Wow.
And so after the first of 3 days at the convention is when we're starting to hear rumors that the promoter went into hiding, and the police were looking for him. And so we had to give Virgil a ride to the convention. He's talking about, like I said, his friends that are into demolitions, and he's like, we won't go after that guy. We're going to go after his family. His wife gets into the car. Better not turn it on. And we're just like, what the fuck is wrong with Virgil? This dude was talking about killing the promoter's family because he didn't get paid.
Oh,
yeah.
Damn.
Like, wrestlers are not to be trifled with, not with their money. I mean, basically the entire wrestling industry is like a gypsy caravan. Like, don't fuck with us, dog. We will fuck you up. We travel the world. We're nomadic people. We don't care about the outside world. I mean, it's like wrestling has its own fucking inner culture. It's like a gypsy caravan. It really is. But, like, yeah, dude, you don't fuck with Virgil's fucking money. Hell no. I'm right with Virgil there. Fucking shank that motherfucker. Promoters are edgy.
Dude.
Promoters are so shady.
He's crazy.
Are edgy, though.
The dude there was a picture of Virgil. He put up a WWF Superstar sign and a table in a New York subway. He just went to a subway station and just sat in the subway and signed autographs for money. No advertising, no nothing.
I mean, how much did he make?
Dude's nuts. I have no idea. If it's anything like that Lonely Virgil table, not much.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, yo, man. I mean, you know, If he made
Virgil
decent money,
would post pictures and like advertise stuff like it's gonna be him and DiBiase. It'll be like WWF superstars Ted DiBiase and Virgil, and it's just Virgil showing up.
Wow.
And Virgil would have like the $1 million belt. You know, he's shady, man. He's a carny motherfucker.
Damn, you know DiBiase probably don't like having his name thrown out there in some carny shit.
No, he probably doesn't.
Yeah, pretty sure about that. Pretty sure about that. Well, we are now at time, gentlemen. Man, these are flying by pretty quick. These are flying
by
pretty
super fast. That was a good episode. Whew.
We didn't even talk about Dynamite. We'll have to cover that in the next episode. But we leave them wanting more, right? At the end of the show, you tease the next.
All I'll say about Dynamite, I am happy with the women's match result. Dude, Thunder Rosa as champ. Fuck yeah.
Good call.
Hell yeah.
Definitely. She deserves it for sure.
Well, the only reason why they wouldn't is if Thunder Rosa is as hurt as I'm hearing. So I'm actually kind of surprised. If she's as hurt as I'm hearing, I'm kind of surprised they did put the belt on her.
I don't think she's as hurt as that's come out.
As we've seen with that match, no, clearly she's not as hurt, or if she's really good at hiding it. But yeah, it's been a long time coming. I was a little disappointed with Britt Baker's run, to be quite honest. So I'm good. I'm ready for a change of pace. Honestly, man, dude, the only matches Britt Baker had her entire run that I felt were actually good were her match where she won the belt from Shida and her matchup with Chris Statlander. And her match with Red Velvet was really good. But everything else was just kind of...
Her match last year's St. Patrick's Day Slam, that lights out match with Thunder Rosa.
Oh my gosh! That was before she got the belt.
Oh, was that before she got the strap?
That was what got her over enough to get the belt. And yeah, back then.
Yeah, she won the belt at what? Double or Nothing, right? Something like that.
That's right, back in May.
So I was 100% on the Britt bandwagon after that match as well. But once she got the belt, man, like honestly, again, I felt like Chris Statlander and Red Velvet and Shida were the only matches that I really enjoyed. Like, man, this is a good match. I would watch this again. I didn't enjoy her program with Nyla Rose. I felt like it was sloppy and off-paced. I didn't like her program with, who did she? Ruby Riott. I felt that was kind of a snooze. Like, I don't know. It felt like those matches with Ruby.
I was bummed with that match. Yes.
Yeah, same here.
Like that one could have been a little better. Yeah.
That could have delivered way more.
It just felt like a classic WWE women's match. Not like it felt like the AJ Lee era of women's matches. Like, it was just basic shit, and, like, the storytelling was real basic. The bumps and spots were simple. Here, I'm going to punch you 3 times. Now we're going to tease a suplex from the top rope, and then you're going to punch your way out, and then we'll do a suplex on the, just a regular suplex, and we'll sell that for 2 minutes. Like, excuse me, all of her matches, this whole reign, were very basic outside of, again, Red Velvet gave us some cool stuff. Chris Statlander is like slowly but surely becoming the best thing in their women's division, and Shida always delivers. But everything else, I'm ready to move on, man. I'm ready for Thunder Rosa.
Yeah,
I'm ready for Thunder Rosa.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. It's going to be good. She's improved so much. I remember hearing when she got first brought onto Lucha Underground, as Cobra Moon, I think it was. Dude, she was green as fuck when they signed her, but had so much promise, and she just kept working. And dude, she became one of the best women's wrestlers on the planet.
Like, no doubt, because people always, like, all the wrestling snobs always say best women's wrestler in the West, because they're Stardom fans. But, like, even Stardom fans are like, yo, Thunder Rosa's fucking good.
Yeah.
It's like, even the fucking Joshi snobs who don't like anything other than, like, some rando, like, 3-foot-tall, 100-pound Joshi woman who can do 3 backflips in a fucking 1 jump, right? They don't like anything but that. But even those guys don't deny Thunder Rosa. So, like,
you can't.
Yeah. I'm excited for the change of pace. I'm over Britt Baker. I've been on the Thunder Rosa bandwagon for a long time, so I'm excited to see what they do with her. It's going to be interesting because I found that AEW seems to do babyface title runs better than WWE. When's the last time they had a good babyface run in WWE where you're like, yeah, man, that
Oh,
was a
God.
that was a good babyface run. Like Nakamura's Intercontinental title run was a year long. You're like, wow, Nakamura had a year-long babyface run. No, the fuck he did not. He wrestled like 2 matches that whole year.
Right.
He wrestled more than 2 matches, but they were all like 6-man matches. He never defended the fucking
Yeah.
belt. He only defended it like twice before he lost it to Sammy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah.
whereas you look at AEW and like, dude, one of the best runs that they've ever had was Moxley's run. And the second best
Dude,
run,
Sheeta's
Sheeta's run. I was going to say, so the best
Yeah.
best title run
Sheeta's
they
run
had
too.
was Sheeta. The third best title run they had when the Bucks were the champs as baby faces. Like, yo, like they have good babyface runs. So I'm excited
Yes,
to
they
see
do.
what they do with Thunder Rosa because they seem to know how to do it better than WWE.
Right.
agree.
I can't
WWE's
remember
gonna
the last time WWE had a good face run, like as a champ. It's just
Any champ, even mid card, dude. Baby faces are just there to be
Yeah.
transitional champs to the next villain, right? Finn Balor only had the Intercontinental title until they could get it off him to what was it, Bobby Lashley or some shit like that. You know, I mean, I
Yeah.
guess he has the U.S. title now, but like, look, dude, they fucking invested all that shit into Damian Priest, and they really didn't do much with him as United States champion until they started teasing the heel turn. They couldn't get him
Right.
over as a babyface.
The dude didn't lose for like a year, though. That's what's crazy. The dude wrestled on Raw almost every week and didn't lose a single match until like 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Because they can't.
yeah,
they
it
don't
was
know
a
how to get
event against
babyface
Balor,
over.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, it might have been. Yeah, I
They
think
don't-
you're right.
They can't get a babyface over. Whereas AEW, like, there's no babyface that I can think of that's as over as Hangman Adam Page. Like, AEW knows how to get a babyface over.
I think so. I think so.
I definitely agree.
Yeah.
But on that note, we're now 20 minutes over time. So before your
Sorry, guys, I
guys'
had to bring up
wives...
the
Hey,
rules.
no worries.
Oh,
Hey,
no.
we get caught up in the
I
wrestling.
am
It's all
mad.
good.
It's not my wife's. It's not my wife that's gonna get mad. It's your guys' wives and kids that need to go to bed and shit. I could do this shit all night. I'm trying to keep y'all from not getting laid tonight, man. If you guys are enjoying the show, make sure you follow, like, and comment and what have you, and make sure you check these guys out on their other social media portals. Just Dave, tell the people where they can find you.
Hey, you guys can catch me on Twitter, JUSXDave.
And
And you can find me at Ryan Stone SD.
on what?
Twitter.
Well, you
What's on
don't.
every damn?
But the people don't know that, man. Trust me, you gotta imagine that some viewers are really fucking stupid and don't know shit. But those ones will.
He
give
doesn't
you
mean that, listeners. He doesn't
Yeah.
mean that. He doesn't mean that you're stupid. No, he doesn't
No,
mean that.
not
He
all
doesn't
of them.
mean that.
Not all of them. The ones that like, comment, and subscribe, very, very smart viewers. But the ones that don't,
Well-
really fucking stupid. We gotta explain shit out to them. Gotta explain it out.
Well, if they search for Ryan Stone SD, the only place they're going to find me is on Twitter.
Well, there you go. Make sure you guys give him a shout out and catch him on Twitter. And you guys know where to follow me. I'm on Twitter, SoCalHoneyBadge1. Links and all of that should be in the description for all of these social medias as well. So you can click those there. But I want to thank you guys for showing up tonight. And rest in peace, Razor Ramon. That's
Rest
my
in peace,
final
Razor.
comment. Ryan, you got a final word?
I have no words. I am speechless.
That works. See you guys later.
See you guys later.
Later, everybody.